Today, I am super excited to share with you Generations, which is a homeschool curriculum company that I've been eyeballing for some time, and I got a big old box on my front door with tons of curriculum, everything from kindergarten through high school, and I'm gonna go ahead in the description box below. I'm gonna put timestamps for all of these, so if you need to skip around, you can. Also, down below in the description box is a link to the Generations website, so if you like any of this stuff, you can order through that link. That would be wonderful. I'm going to share with you what I ordered. I'm going to share with you my thoughts. I am a former public and private school teacher. I have a daughter with Down syndrome. I've been homeschooling my kids. I've been in this world for like 25 years. A little scary that I'm that old. I'm really hoping that I can give you guys some insight into what I'm seeing with this curriculum. So first of all, right off the bat, it is biblically based. It comes from a biblical worldview, and that's like a win-win for me because as a homeschooler, like as a homeschool parent, that's like one of my main reasons for homeschooling is because I want to get my kids solid in a biblical foundation. So the first book I'm going to share with you is Proverbs. This is the companion lesson book. It's a companion to the book of Proverbs, like in the Bible. Like that's the book that you're going to read. You don't need a teacher guide. That to me is so awesome because your textbook is the Bible, and I love that because for me, I feel like if I were to go back in time and do it again, I would have my kids. The textbook would be the Bible, and then everything else would be supplements. What you're going to do in the book, when you open it up, it's divided up into chapters. Really excited about this one because of how in-depth it is and how it really, actually, you'll see. Let me just talk, okay? So chapter 1, you're going to read chapter 1 from the book of Proverbs at least twice. That's what it suggests. And then when you turn to this page, of course, you want to think about it, talk about it, discuss it. We're going to do vocabulary. And you're going to get these, it looks like you're going to look up these words. You're going to provide the definition. You're going to provide the definition in your own words. And then you're going to use it in a sentence. And the same with the next one, review. So this is how you do it. This is how you teach from the Bible. Well, there's more to than just vocabulary. Because next they're going to do questions. They're going to have some in-depth questions to take a deeper look. So verse 1, who wrote most of the book of Proverbs? Verse 4, who are the people who should listen to these lessons? And then it says there's 2 answers. Of course, there's more questions. I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. And then on the back, there's some more questions. And connect the verse. So there's a little activity down here. Over here, it looks like we're going to do some more reviewing where you fill in the blank. Then this looks like an application question. What sort of things can you do to honor your parents more? Ooh, I always love those kind, right? It gives you a hint too. Ephesians. So you're going to answer this question, and here's some extra Bible verses to look up. And then number 2 says, do you have any friends or neighbors that ask you to sin against God? If somebody asked you to sin against God, what would you say? It gives you a hint. And then there's a little word search at the end. I love this. I love this so much. That's the format for the book. Okay, it's a little side note, a hint. This is like a tip, I should say. A tip from one homeschool parent to a mom when it comes to giving your kid a student workbook. Sometimes you get the answers in the back of the book. Rip them out. Unless you want your kids looking at the answers. I know there are some cases where you want your kids to try and attempt it themselves and then check their own answers. I get it. We do that with science, but for this one, it looks like I'm actually definitely going to be ripping out the answers and putting them. I have a little stash where I put things. Should be under lock and key, actually. I have a little stash where I put all of my curriculum answer sheets. I love this. Probably going to buy it for my other 2 kids. The next thing I got was this right here, which is Teach Me the Faith. Now, this is a catechism right here. And this is more for me as I'm building some of the curricula for my youngest daughter who has Down syndrome. And I'm going to be using this, obviously to read to her because I love these little pictures so much. And another thing that I am noticing as I'm going through this, I know that there are some people out there that are very particular when it comes to pictures of Jesus. I don't see any pictures right now of Jesus. I'm looking through it, not seeing pictures of Jesus. So that's something to keep in mind. There are some very cute animals in there. Of course, I'm going to read this to my daughter. This is great to open up for discussion, and I will probably end up making some worksheets for her as well, which I probably will share with you guys later. And they have different versions, it looks like. It has King James, New King James, and English Standard Version. Okay, I'm going to start with kindergarten. I'm just going to go from kindergarten up through high school. I'm just going to go in order. So I got their My First Letter and Sound Book, and then I also got My First Numbers and Introduction to Math book. And this looks like it's the kindergarten curriculum that they have, the core stuff right here. For kindergarten, you really don't need to be teaching your kids too much, honestly. Go outside, look at nature, talk about plants, pray a lot together, read the Bible, and then, you know, when you have an hour or two, sit down and teach them how to read and their letters and formations and math. Keep it simple with kindergarten. Also read a lot of books. And having something so simple like this, because I did flip through it a little bit, it is very simple. It gives you more time to do some of those things. I've heard so many stories from parents that say, you know, my kid's in first grade or kindergarten and I don't even have to do anything. I don't even have time to do anything outside their curriculum, and there's so much more I want to do with them. That kind of curriculum is not made for early elementary kids. This is very simple, and it allows time for you to be a parent and spend time with your kids out in nature, studying the land that God created and praying a lot and reading Bible. It gives you that time. I mean, just looking at the cover, I mean, it says God loves me. Awesome introduction. To me, this looks like your pretty typical basic kindergarten teaching letters type of book. Okay, so we have C's, and then you do all the C things, and that will last for D is, yeah, so they're about 2 pages for each letter. Oh, you're gonna start entering into some vowel blends. That's what it looks like, and then you have some Bible verses that you read together. Lots of coloring pages, circling stuff, just activities that go along with learning vowel sounds, consonant blends, digraph blends. So just kind of it's really just the basic stuff with some activities to reinforce it. According to this, I'm just going to go ahead and read. I always like to read whenever I get any of these books. I like to read the introduction or the message to parents because they're going to kind of give you some clues on how to use the curriculum. I also like to see if they have a course schedule, and this one does. But it does say right here it's a 25-week course. And then, of course, it does share that after they finish this, they're ready to continue with first grade. I honestly could see a kindergartner, in all honesty, they could rush right through this. And they could probably finish this guy up in like a semester. But I've also seen some kids that they are going to have to take their time going through something like this. I would also highly, highly recommend, just by looking at this, to get some books. But that's just a recommendation for any curriculum, getting books to read to your kids. Next, I got the math book, which is My First Numbers right here. It does come with, it looks like flashcards. And this is just, once again, more repetition for my daughter who has Down syndrome, and I'm really excited. The things that stuck out to me the most when I'm going through there is I love the fact that they have some fine motor skills with writing their numbers. Then there's some coloring, because we're always building those fine motor skills through the reading book and through this, so it's going into both of them. We got to develop those fine motor skills. I love the fact that the lessons are like practice with God's numbers 4 to 7, because you're recognizing that they're God's numbers. They're God's numbers. And I love that. And this one's nice because it does the creation and more practice with God's numbers, and that goes throughout the entire book. You know, thinking about God's world, that's chapter 4, and that's going to be thinking differently. That's going to, it looks like logic, addition practice, critical thinking, you know, comparing sizes. What else? And then more fine motor skills. I don't know what they're saying about manipulatives, but when I see something like this, I own these, I pull them out. And I also, same with this, like I have that. I'm going to pull it out and do it. Oh, I also love that all of the pages in here that begin the chapter, they're outside exploring the world. Let's make bigger and smaller numbers. I think this looks like, to me, right off the back when I'm looking at it, a very good foundational math curriculum for kindergarten. I'm actually really liking this. So, and I like the flashcards too. I don't have to buy flashcards. You won't have to buy flashcards. Actually, the majority of the curriculum that I bought from Generations was history. And I got everything from kindergarten to 6th grade with history. And that is because my 5th grade daughter, we have done lots of different things with history. And we're at the point right now where I just need something simple and straight to the point so we can focus in on other things. I want her to work independently with history, I guess is what I'm trying to say. She's very good at working independently, but there is so much flexibility that I see with this history curriculum. I'm going to explain. So this is the kindergarten one. Yeah, which is cool because I'll probably read this to my daughter when she gets a little bit older, my youngest daughter. But I'm sure Hannah, my 5th grader, is going to go through this and probably read it to her as well. But what I saw inside of here is, first of all, like the pictures at first glance, the pictures are absolutely beautiful. I love that. And they're not old pictures too, because sometimes when you crack open these history books, you're going to see some really old pictures from like the 90s. And that's something that I noticed throughout all of their history curriculum. So this one is entitled My First History Book, Exciting Stories of God's People. And so looking at the table of contents, we have Miriam and the Bad King of Egypt, Josiah, a little boy becoming a king, Rhonda, here's a knock, Nicholas of Myra, and a surprise present, a very bad little boy, Augustine and the pear tree. So it looks like it's just going through different people. Then we have Sir Isaac Newton is in here as well, which is Science for God's Glory, which is very interesting. That is a very interesting story, and I kind of am excited that they're including it in here. Samuel Morris, Louis Pasteur is in here. And then we have Charles Spurgeon, George Washington Carver. And here, I'll just show you the last couple chapters so you can kind of see what they have. And then, of course, they have the scope and sequence if you want to get a glance of it. So they are suggesting this is a 34-week course, about a story a week. When I look at the first one, so this one's about Miriam. Then you read the story to the kids. Learning to be patient is one of the topics that they bring up. And then at the very end, it says what happens later. It tells you a little bit about the future. And then there are there's a psalm in there, and then discussion questions that you can do with your kindergartner. Of course, a really pretty picture right there. And that seems to be the basic format for the entire book. Very straightforward. But that's kind of what all the history books look like. Let me show you. So level 1, I'm assuming approximately 1st grade. That's what I'm assuming. The story of Jesus's people. Here's the table of contents. 2nd page. Last page. So this one is focused on God's church from 1st century to present day. And those are the people that they're going to highlight. I love that they're telling stories about people, because kids at young ages, they seem to relate more to people and their story. By learning about the people, you're actually going to be learning about the environment around them. And I really like that they're doing that. And once again, this does have some beautiful, beautiful pictures. And I love the smell of new books too. Just a side note. Aw, yay. They do Bach in here. I like Bach. They even go as far as to Brazil, a cowboy, a church, and a change in Brazil. That one sounds interesting. The one thing I did notice, though, about this book is that there are no discussion questions at the end. They do have some faith lessons and, of course, a Bible verse, but there's no upfront questions. And I'm going to have to do some research to see if there's like another resource where I could find some questions. But if not, the way that I'm going to approach this with my daughter, because like I said, I'm going to be using these with my daughter who's in 5th grade, and this is going to be for her to read on her own. I'm going to ask her to verbally tell me what's going on. Give me kind of like almost like an oral book report, a discussion. It's very Charlotte Mason type style. We are hitting upon her writing a lot. So comprehension and rhetoric we're going to do with history. I could see a parent, though, reading this out loud to their child and discussing it as they go, following the Charlotte Mason technique. Okay, if you're not familiar with the Charlotte Mason technique, it's basically you read a portion and then they say it back to you. And then you read the next portion, they say it back to you. And over a period of time, you will start to read longer passages to build up that retention. You could definitely use the Charlotte Mason technique on that. Okay, so this is the first one. I'm just going to show you the other ones. This is the lesson or level 2, which looks like 2nd grade. I'm excited that it's the Middle East. And it looks like what they're doing is they're starting out with James and Peter and Paul, and then they're going through all of our Messiah's work in Israel, beyond the borders, and the gospel spreading out towards all the different areas like Turkey and Persia and North Africa. Follows the gospel's expansion into the Middle East during the early Christian period and into present day. So you're getting a little bit of geography in there, and I'm sure there's some, the pictures are beautiful. And what I'm thinking that I will probably do with my daughter is pull out a current map. We don't need to go through like the different historical maps because that can get crazy. But for her, I'm just going to pull out a current map, and I'm probably going to have her map as she goes when we do this one. This is the third level, and this one is taking the Americas, and it looks like not just America like the United States. It looks like we're talking North and South America. I made the mistake once of referring to the United States as America when I was in Ecuador, and I learned really quickly that the United States is not the only place called America. Side note. Anyway, here is the table of contents. We have Alaska. Of course, we got maps again. I'm probably going to do the maps. And if you notice with this book, because it's level 3, the words are getting smaller and the chapters are getting longer. There's still no discussion questions that I see. So we're going to definitely have to do a lot of oral reports. I'm sure you guys can have them write a summary if you wanted to. Whatever you feel is necessary, however you want to use this. It looks like it's very, very flexible. And this one's Asia. Okay, so I think Asia is going to be fun because we don't talk about Asia too much and what's going on. Nice little spread here. And so it looks like when you get to the chapters, it's not going to be just about the people. We're now going to be talking about the age of exploration, India before Christ, China before Christ, Japan before Christ. But then we do have some people. We've got Hudson Taylor in there, of course. Amy Carmichael, of course. Oh, the Korean Pentecost. Okay, that's something I don't know about. Church in Communist China. See, to me, that would be a really fun research paper. And I almost feel like with her, I might actually have her pick a topic and do a research paper at the end of 5th grade. I'm just thinking kind of out of the box right now. This is something I did see that I thought was really cool, is they give you some basic facts. Total population, total area, capital, official language, and primary religion, which is atheism. Nice. It's not nice as in like nice. It's nice as in good to know. And here is 5th grade. This is now Africa. Oh my goodness. And we're talking about Muslims. We're talking about Christianity spreading to Africa. We're talking the plagues of Egypt up in the front. The words are definitely getting thinner. Look at this. Look at that map. What? It's just so pretty. So pretty. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Okay, I feel like they're getting more and more beautiful as we get older. It's all beautiful. The last one is Europe. We haven't talked about Europe yet, and that's going to be lesson 6 or level 6. Table of contents for you. Oh, these have units because we are getting much more advanced. Okay, and definitely the chapters are getting bigger, the words are getting thinner, the pictures are always beautiful. Look at that. Like, I want to jump in my book right now. I'm going on vacation in Norway. All right, one thing I did notice about this, there's prayer points for Europe, and praise God for his power, praise God for his wisdom, praise God for his goodness. Of course, they have basic facts as well in this book. Ireland, look at that. Yeah, and I think this is a good choice to do Europe last, right? Because Europe can get pretty, especially when you get into some of the kings and the queens and the wars, and like you have them in here, they're in here. You know what I'm noticing with this, there is so much flexibility and opportunities for you to take some time and go in depth into some of these areas like the kings and queens and such. You can easily do a search online for some really good books, actual like readable, real, what do they call it? What Charlene Mason, living books that could go right along with this. One that comes to mind is Our Island Story, A Child's History of England. We loved that book. It's not it's not biblically based. It's not a Christian worldview book, but it gives you the history of England. It's so detailed. It's a living book, and I think it would go very, very well if you wanted to go in depth with this. This one is for high school. It's an economics course, and it's how the world runs and your part in it. And my son this year, who is in high school, is wanting to get a job, and I just want a nice, simple economics book. He's learning a lot about business anyway through his parents, but when I look at this, it's definitely a textbook. It's definitely from a biblical worldview. I mean, there's things in here like saving energy with your water heater, saving energy with appliances. Let me show you the table of contents. Human motivation, what makes the world run, the laws of supply and demand, wealth inequality with why some nations are rich, others are poor, thorns and thistles, the reality of sin, the effects of sin and judgment, economic theories, biblical economics, getting your job, working through economics. Actually, my son wants to get a job, so banking and your money, how the world robs, cheats, and steals, but also banking, investments. Okay, that's cool that they're teaching investments. That's another thing. I'm going to not only talk about it, but we're going to do it. We've been talking about doing it. I think we're going to do it, especially since he is talking about getting the job. And then there's a workbook. They follow along, they do the things, answer the questions. Very simple, very straightforward, biblical worldview. I definitely would say it looks very traditional. We're going to do it, and then I can say he has a year of economics. I am not a fan of teaching economics. And I'm excited because it's from a biblical worldview, and it's not too overwhelming. It's simple. We got it. Let's do the rest in the real world. You know, it's interesting that I know in our state, Florida, they only require a half a year of economics, and that doesn't make any sense to me. There's a lot of things that the public school does that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so you can watch that in another video. I'll stick some of my thoughts over here too in this video because I'm now done with this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, your response, your thoughts on generations. If you use it, share that with me. Don't forget to subscribe, check out the videos that I got over here, and subscribe so you can see my reaction to these videos and what I actually think after using them. So thank you guys so much. Bye.